10,000 talents. Help me forgive this person 42 pence. And it makes it easier. I think we have time for one more question.
One more. Okay.
Oh, she's going to the bottom of the pile.
This is, yes. What do you think about girls that wear short skirts in church? I want to stand here as you answer that. No, I'm not kidding.
Our lesson tonight is dealing... Well, let me address this briefly, if that's possible. I don't want to say anything to discourage people who might be thinking their skirt is too short. And whatever you do, don't look at what someone's wearing right now as I talk about this, okay? Now, first of all, does everyone here know that a man can be stimulated sexually through his optic nerves? How many people know that? Let me see your hands. All the men raise their hands. They know that. Is it possible for a man to be tantalized by the figure of a woman? Yes. Is it a sin for a man to look on a woman and lust after her in his heart? Girls, why would you want to trouble us like that in church? We're trying to think about God. That's why we're here. You know, the Jews understood this was a problem. And to avoid the problem, even though they dressed very modestly, the women not only veiled their faces, they had garments down to the ground, they had a curtain going down the aisle of the church, or the men sat downstairs and the women were in the balcony in the Middle East. And it's still that way in many Jewish churches and synagogues, because they thought when you go into the presence of God, it's important to think holy thoughts, and they're right. And they thought even if you're with your wife, you might think other things. And so the men never even sat with their wives. And so, you know, when you come into the presence of God, you should be modest. And incidentally, friends, it's not only true in church. Men have trouble outside of church, too. And if you're a Christian lady, be sensitive about, and it's not all your fault. Be sensitive about making your brother stumble. We're being told all the time by the fashion industry that we are to deliberately dress to be sexually attractive. Isn't that right? That's the message that is constantly pouring into our society. The reason that a lady dresses is for the purpose of attracting men. And women are told even after they're married they're to continue dressing that way. Well, it's true you don't want to be unattractive for your husband, but I don't think women ought to dress specifically for the purpose of being sexually arousing. I think Christian women ought to try to represent Jesus, amen, and not accentuate all their curves. And men too. Well, she didn't ask about men. She asked about women whose skirts are too short. It would be true of men whose skirts are too short too. Our lesson tonight is dealing with Antichrist